Thank you guys for liking, commenting, subscribing. Thank you guys for coming back. I'm back with another video. No, it's not related to my son or my single parent. Well, maybe just a little bit. But like, I just wanted to talk about feeling like a failure. Yeah, I want to talk about feeling like a failure because I feel that way. Personally, I feel like I've failed a lot. What with me even disappearing from YouTube after starting something, I feel like sometimes I take long to finish things that I start, no matter how passionate I feel about the things, and I hate that about myself. If any of you don't know, I suffer from depression. I was diagnosed at some point. I was put on antidepressants. That's a story I'll tell another time. I suspect that I have other mental health um, ailments or other mental illnesses, whatever you want to call them. Whatever you want to call them. I suspect I have such, and I still need to go get proper testing because the health system in Bots is, it's growing, and finally we can get the help that we need because mental health is something that most people are increasingly growing aware of. Anyway, so I suffer from feeling like a failure, like a lot of the time. If you guys don't know, I can't call myself a dropout because I don't think I've completely given up on school, but I am on a hiatus indefinitely. Is that how you say it? Hiatus? Indefinitely. I don't know how long for. I was doing a degree in event management at one of the but in GABS, and then I had to drop out because of circumstances at home and my depression and me being in an abusive relationship and all the likes. But that's another story for another day. So when I dropped out, I tried to reapply. That didn't work out. At some point, I got fed up of waiting, and I decided to use a is it a scholarship, a bursary, where they kind of pay most of my fees at the main university in Gaborone. And then while I was there during the pandemic, the pandemic happened, and then just as we were about to go back, they told us that we weren't writing exams and that we were just going to do assignments and stuff. And then I started to feel really overwhelmed. I was already feeling overwhelmed. Like, I'd get to school and some days I couldn't make it to class. Some days I'd like have a really hard time getting out of bed, and my achievement for the day would have been that one, I got out of bed, or two, I drove to school. Even though I was late for class, or even though I made it to school somewhat on time for class, the fact that I could park my car in school, I would have such crippling anxiety that I couldn't get out of my car and walk to class. Why? I don't know. Don't ask me why it happens. It just does. Anyways, so sometimes my achievement for the day would be the fact that I actually drove to school, even if I didn't manage to leave my car. I would drive, sit in the car for 30 minutes, even if I was like 15 minutes late for class, and I would drive back home. And that was me having achieved something. And I would try catch up, and it just wasn't working, People take for granted how much mental illness can actually ruin your life. Like, you can get to a place where doing the simple tasks like getting out of bed and driving to school and getting out of your car and walking into class. I had a car, and most students in my class don't have a car, but I struggle to get to school. I have somebody who helps me with the kid in the morning. Usually my kid is at school anyways, so I didn't have to worry about getting my son ready or dropping him off wherever. The only thing I had to worry about was picking him up from school on certain days when I would shift with my parents, because my parents helped me raise my son, but that's not really a concern. That could be worked around. So yeah, I just really struggled with that. And at some point I decided, which was a really bad decision, by the way, I realized in hindsight. I'm sorry if you can hear the dog barking. The street I live in, our houses are so close knit together that you can kind of hear people in the street talking and people walking past. So if you hear noises, please don't mind them. Anyway, so yeah, I really struggled. And then after the pandemic, the work was kind of piling on, and I just decided, you know what, whatever. I'm not submitting the rest of my assignments. I really did try to submit it, but I decided I'm not submitting the rest of my assignments. I'm tired. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to continue with the semester. And then I just stopped everything. So basically, I got an FD. Yeah, which is a bad thing. I mean, I really could have just told them to pause my things or defer. I don't know if it would have been possible at that point in the semester, but I really could have just said something to someone about how I was feeling, so at least they were aware. Even if I did FD at some point, then it could have been a situation where I actually spoke to someone and then they can talk on my behalf when I feel like coming back to school. I didn't tell my parents when I was doing this. I just kind of dropped out. So bear in mind, this is the second tertiary institution I'm going to that I have not completed the program of study. This particular program of study I didn't really like. The first one I chose because I didn't really have many options, because what I wanted wasn't being sponsored by the government, and my parents were not gonna pay my fees. So yeah. Anyway, long story short, I have this thing where I start things and then I just fall off because of life, and it really scares me because life happens to all of us. I had a plan for this video and like in my book, but I'm kind of just freestyling and talking, and hopefully you guys will understand where I'm coming from. Am I still recording? Yeah, I am. But yeah, basically life happens to all of us, but life also doesn't wait for anyone. You know what I mean? You can feel sorry, give yourself a 2-minute break, and then you need to get up and keep moving. I've basically been a varsity student since 2016, and the year is 2021. I was supposed to have graduated last year. I didn't from my first degree. I have not. I was supposed to be completing this particular diploma. Is it this coming year? Yeah, this coming year I'm supposed to be completing the diploma. I'm not. I dropped out of my second semester. So here I am with 2 incomplete qualifications, and I just feel like crap. I am beginning to resent the line of work that I do to make money. I do hair, by the way, if you guys didn't know. I have a page on Instagram. It's called Locks by Mellow. It's doing quite well. I've been doing quite well for a while, actually, because I can live off the money. I managed to pay my rent, my car, take care of my son. All the clothes on my back were bought from... Guys, what is going on with my saliva today? Yo. All the clothes that I put on my back were literally bought from money from doing hair, which most people would consider grunt work or whatever. But, you know, it pays my bills. Basically, where I'm at right now, I'm kind of getting tired of having to do such work. So I need more lip gloss, and I need to breathe. Ooh, you know when your lip gloss is clear and you can't dip the wand and put it on your lips because you have like color. Where I'm at right now, I'm starting to grow really tired of doing my job. And it's gotten to the point where some days I can't get out of bed just to go do my job. Like, I'll make bookings and I'll be so psyched up to work, and then the next day it's getting out of bed is hard. I had a falling out with a friend not so long ago because she confronted me, because some days, a lot of the time when we have meetings with friends or whatever, I'm always late. And I said to her, you know, I feel like you don't really understand what it takes for me as somebody who suffers from depression to get out of bed. And she was like, you know what, regardless of that, you know, but I just could tell that this is coming from somebody who doesn't fully understand. And I had to kind of put myself in a position where it may have looked petty to my friend, but I had to put myself in a position where I had to remove myself from my friend's way, or any of my friends' ways who don't particularly understand why I'm always late, because it seemed like my mental health situation or me having a hard time getting out of bed is affecting them. and our friendship. So I decided that I'm just going to pull out and give myself some space to deal with my timekeeping issue, which is basically me not having the will to get out of bed, basically. Or being able to just say things when I'm feeling anxious, or say no, or I won't make it, or my fear of my fear of disappointing people on whatever grounds. Basically, I feel like I'm failing on all fronts. Like, I have a failed relationship, several failed relationships. I'm a single mother. I have no degree, but I've been to 2 tertiary institutions. I am moving back home after moving out and living by myself several times. I don't know how many times I've moved back home. On most occasions, it's not a financial issue. It's just usually the fact that I can't get out of bed. I start to realize that I'm spiraling into really bad habits that I cannot curb when I'm alone, because there's nobody that I fear will see some of the things that I'm doing. So I'm basically just digging myself deeper into a crap hole, basically. But yeah, the gist of this video was to say that I often feel like a failure. And from what I can tell from the responses that I get from my videos or the things that I share on my other social media platforms, for example, WhatsApp, where I'm the most active, and some of my clients have my number. I haven't had a business line yet, so I use my personal line as my business line, so I share a lot on there. And a lot of my clients who have turned to friends are always telling me that they can relate with some of the things that I'm going through, or some of the things that I post about, even if I'm not particularly going through that thing in that very moment. And I just wanted to share this with other people, that, you know, like, failure, these words will always stick with me because they came when I was pregnant. We're staying at my aunt's house with my mom. We had gone to visit Gomolapolle, and some pastor man happened to pass by the house. And the guy said to me, he's like, oh, can I talk to you? So you're pregnant, what happened? So I explained, but it was a bit awkward. Sorry, my face is itchy. Whew. Yeah, he was like, so what happened? So I explained to him what happened. And he's like, you know what, don't worry, you're gonna go finish school. I felt pregnant in high school, but he goes, you're gonna go on to finish school, you're gonna be successful in whatever you do. And I believe that God has a story to write in your life. Through you, he has people to touch and whatever. And he said to me, you know what, Lamela, failure is not final. Like, just because you failed once, twice, many times even, doesn't mean that that's your brand. Failure is not your brand. The most successful people are people who have failed many times, and the only way you could ever call yourself a failure is if you failed and didn't bother to get up and try again. You know, whether it's you fell and you're crawling, or you fell and you're flying now, whatever the case may be, after you fail, you dust yourself off, you try again. And that's just the motto. That's just how life works. Life is not gonna be, you know, set in stone, or like very easy. I mean, some people have it easy in that department. They go through the motions of life, and it's from one stage to another, and there's barely any hurdles or struggles. But they have struggles in other regards. Some people have problems, what's the word, with their relationships and their family life. You know, some people can't find romantic love. Some people, like, there's so many areas in people's lives where it's very possible for you to feel like you're failing. Your life could be okay in all other regards, and then in that one thing, it just never works out. But basically, I'm here to encourage you and myself that even though we fail, failure isn't final. And a key thing to trying to curb the behaviors that we have that continually make us fail or fall into cycles of failure in the same area is to be self-aware. Self-awareness is very important, which is exactly why I'm talking to you guys, because I've had a lot of time to introspect And you must realize that the problem is not always the world or the devil is fighting with you. Sometimes you are the devil in your life, you know? The devil is not always like an actual devil. Sometimes it's just the vices that you have that you are not taking the time to deal with. So take some time to reflect when things happen that seem to keep reoccurring. Ask yourself, but what is it that I'm contributing to the situation always happening this particular way? If you are in a relationship and you guys keep going through this toxic cycle, and you keep pointing fingers at the other person and thinking, no, it's this person, it's you, you keep doing this to me. Why do you keep doing this to me? But what about you? What is it that you're contributing to the situation that is making you continually find yourself in a place where you are complaining that it's the other person, or a place where you realize, oh crap, I'm here again, you know? It may not even be that you're doing any kind of wrong. For example, I'm just going to use the example of a relationship because I believe it's a relatable place. You may be in a situation where people continually use you, or your relationship is just in a rut, and you have to realize that some of the things that are happening to you are allowing. A lot of the anguish and pain that you are going through, that you are continually seeing, you are allowing. You wake up every day and decide to give people chances over and over, and God says that we should forgive 70 times 7. Don't get me wrong, but forgiving doesn't always mean putting yourself back in a toxic place. One, this is me still giving the example. So you need to make sure that you deliberately remove yourself from that place, whether it's physically or whatever the case may be. Be smart about it and remove yourself from a place where people are always using you for your things or your time or what you have to give, or where you are continuously finding yourself in a place where now you're like, oh crap, why am I here again? You know, I realize that every time I go out on my own and I decide, okay, I want to live alone, I'm a very romantic person. I always end up in situations very sticky. Why did I say I'm a very romantic person? I need to cut that out. I always find myself in very sticky situations where now I'm giving so much of myself that I have nothing left for myself. And me being at home kind of creates a protective barrier for me, or for people not to use me, because I have my parents' expectations to guard as well. I can't be out too late all the time because like trying to please my friends and any man that I'm seeing or now dating or whatever, because I can go overboard. I can do the most of it. I need to understand that I have my son and I have my parents who are guarding me, who are expecting me to be home and spend time within the home with them, and are not expecting me to be out all the time. So me being home, or me moving from this place and going home, is me putting myself in a safe space so I don't continue repeating the cycles that I was repeating. I need to also make sure that I take myself for therapy so that I can see how best to deal with my anxiety and depression, and maybe identify any other mental illnesses that I may not be aware of that may be causing me to continually move back into the cycle. I need to decide whether the programs I'm doing in varsity are what I really want, and if not, what is it that I want to do with my life, because I know that I don't want to do hair forever. That's for sure. It's back-breaking work. So what I'm trying to say to you is identify the things in your life that are making you go through those toxic cycles over and over again, that are making you, and the toxic cycles that are making you feel like you're a failure. Identify them. I'm sorry if I'm not looking in the camera. There's just a lot going on this way. But yeah, identify those things and take the time to deal with them. And seek therapy, guys. Therapy doesn't, you don't always have to go to therapy when something's wrong. Therapy is for people who are okay too. You know, sometimes it's just a voice of reason. It gives you a certain way of thinking that you may need in order to introspect and just better your life, even if your life is great anyways. You know what I mean? Or maybe even just to cultivate an attitude of gratitude, because gratitude is important in order for us to get to where we are supposed to be in terms of our purpose and just potential in life, you know. Yeah, so you can't be a good steward of something you don't see. You can't protect the little that you have or the much that you have if you are not aware of the fact that you have it, and thankful for the fact that you have that stuff. So gratitude is really important. I don't know if I'm making sense, but basically failure is not final. We all fail and then rise to fail again, in all aspects of life. But the motto is to keep moving. We move. 2021, and the aim and the motto is still, well, not the aim, the motto is that we still move. Yeah, that's all I really had to share with you guys in this particular video. I hope that I didn't talk for too long, and I hope that you guys actually got what I was trying to say, because sometimes I feel like I talk nonsense. Yeah, really do feel like I talk nonsense. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me in this video once again. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you guys for knowing that I'm back like I never left. God willing, see you guys in the next video. Peace.